I don't care if you're on the left or if you're on the right or if you're in the middle. I just think it's important to think about the information that they're feeding us. Today, through a lawyer's lens, we're going to talk about the fact that, did anyone notice last week that there were 4 major world leaders who are in terrible trouble facing resignation? Boris is out. Mario Draghi from Italy fostered his resignation, to which the president said, no thank you, we'll keep you. Israel's government disbanded, and the current prime minister was resigning to do a new coalition. And in Sri Lanka, the people were apparently ready to overrun his home, and so the president of Sri Lanka has left the country. To have 4 world leaders in 1 week face this kind of tumult, to me says something about the current leadership on the planet and how bad it is. I know that the world is in a completely precarious and terrible spot, and that all of this information is so overwhelming, one literally just doesn't know what to do with it, except be grateful that they found the new galaxies, so that if ultimately we all have to go to a different galaxy, maybe that'll be ready by that time. But seriously, I think it may be unprecedented that this type of movement in leadership is happening worldwide.
Do you think there's more resignations to come?
I'm not an expert on world events. I am just someone who is up reading from 2:18 to 4:18 in the morning. And no, seriously, I am in a constant state of awe that in a post-World War II world, the planet is in this shape. But there are so many bad things that are happening on the planet, and I think it all starts with the fact that there is too much wealth in the hands of too few people. That's where it all begins.
Now, do you think America is making the same mistakes as these countries are?
The fact is that what people aren't focusing on is what causes the demise of democracy. And people are laughing. And people even laughed at there were political analysts who were saying for years that the actions being taken in politics from the time the Clintons were in power, and that's 1990, that there were changes going on in the Republican Party, from Tea Party antics to promises not to vote a certain way. But I can't even imagine that in our lifetime this has happened. I grew up in a world where we all got to go to college. Everyone was encouraged to go to college or university. There were 3% and 4% loans that we could borrow from the government and pay back. And without that kind of assistance that the right may call a social welfare benefit, it's difficult to have upward mobility in society. And I don't want to get political and preachy. It's just that as an immigration lawyer, when I see these kids who come to me, some of whom are lawfully in the United States and some of whom are not, come to my office and tell me that they can't even afford to go to Nassau Community College because they need to make the $12 an hour working a construction job just to sustain themselves. I would argue that, the age of upward mobility is a road less traveled. And if you look at the population of those who are currently attending law school, you'll see most of them come from parents who have the ability to pay $85,000 a year in tuition, It's just very sad to me. There are not the same opportunities. What can we do in a country where a majority of people have no say and the minority are recreating the rules? These are just my thoughts. Like, what are you thinking about?